Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and it's another update on the Sky or whatever, the make £600 a month challenge to get my December off. That has changed since then. I'm going to explain why it's changed. It's not like a cop out from me like I usually do into these challenges. It's just that we got my DBS certificate back last week. I'm now ready to go and work in the new workplace. I'm on 2 weeks, just about to start 2 weeks annual leave, but hopefully after that, everything be set up to go to work in the new workplace. And it's a big change to like give up guaranteed work and just go into the realms of doing casual labour, casual work, and hoping the phone rings enough. Excuse me, one moment. Yeah, so it's a big change that I was starting to feel anxious about. Not about doing it, I'm 100%... bloody hell. Sorry about that, got frog in my throat. I'm 100% going to do it. I'm just going to bring it forward. So, at the making of £1,800 before the end of October, part of this challenge is going to go. But we're going to keep the vlog going as such. And it's just going to be like reviewing... When I get 5, 6, 7 hands to take a look at and review, we're just going to do it and just keep track of my progress, keep track of how much I'm making and just my general thoughts. So the actual challenge of making £1,800 between now and the end of October is off because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be handing my notice in the next 2 or 3 weeks because I just don't want the anxiety of knowing I'm going to do it and then just waiting for it to happen, waiting for me to do it for no reason really. I mean, it seemed like a good plan. Let's have December off, but given that I'm going to have full control over where and when I work, I can still have the time off in December that I want to have off, which is pretty much the week around Christmas and New Year. The rest of the time, I'm no issue working at all, and it should be making me really quite anxious and I don't know what, just unsettled. I don't normally feel like that. I'm one of the most laid-back people ever, but it's kind of been like, I've been talking about it to people, and it's like, it's so far off in the future, and I don't know, it makes me feel weird. So basically, when I get in the new project, if they can provide me, if I can set myself up with a month's worth of work from them, I don't know, from say the middle of October to the middle of November, that's when I put my notice in with my current employer to provide the gap in the employment, and I'll just work for the one employer for like a month. So yeah, I haven't got an exact date for when I'm going to do it because it will depend on how much work there is with the new employer, and of course if there's not enough work then I won't be able to do it at all. But it seems to me they seem desperate to get me started, so it seems there's going to be more than enough work for me. So hopefully that comes sooner rather than later. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. The £600 a month challenge is off, and we're just back to just trying to make whatever we can. Because if I can get a month's worth of work with the new company, then I don't need to replace the income that I'm losing. So the challenge is off, so to speak, and we're just back to the normal grind. So there we go. Let's take a look at these hands. Most of these hands are going to revolve around my aggression. I think I've maybe been overdoing the aggression a little bit in the last few days. Maybe for the last week or so. Maybe since like the downswing we talked about in the previous video, the one before that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been playing well, but it's certainly been like a slight change of style for me, and yeah, just open it up for discussion, see what people think basically. So this first hand here, we are three-handed. This is a regular on the button, he's going to fold, so it makes no difference, and this guy was like a super aggro fish. So we open the 4-5 suited, he calls. Flop a gut shot, c-bet, he min raises. I think calls clearly the best play at the moment. I mean, if he does have ace-x, etc., he's not going to fall to a 3-bet. Our draw is nowhere near strong enough to justify 3-betting, but there's tons of good turn cards for us, so obviously we're not just going to fold to the min raise. We're just going to call, and if the turn comes off like a 9 of clubs or something, we're done with it. If it comes off something more interesting, then we're going to have some options. So we do get the interesting turn card. We check, he bets quite small, and I've already a bit of a spoiler that we go all in. He bet like 1/3 pot, and I didn't know what he had, to be honest with you. He was just aggressive. Who knows? He could have had a 10, a 3, a weak ace. He was just pretty aggressive. He might just be airballing, with who knows what. It seems unlikely that he's airballing on the 220 size. It seemed a bit more like value-y to me than maybe he was bluffing. But we just turned such a ton of equity, and he's so aggressive. I thought we could, maybe get some folds. Not from ace-x. I'm not trying to make him fold ace-x here, but if he did like min-raise with a 10, as these aggressive fish, will do quite often, or just min-raise with, like, who knows, just some kind of airball, like king-queen or something, and now he's trying to buy it cheap on the turn. I think we can get a lot of folds from, like, his range that isn't ace-x plus. We know we're not getting him to fold ace-x or anything better than ace-x, but anything less than ace-x, I think we can probably get a lot of folds from here. And this is not a play that I would make against somebody unless I thought they were like capable of being pretty out of line. Because I don't expect people to be like raised and then barrel turn with ace-x and fold in these spots very often, especially not fish. But as I say, I genuinely thought this guy could have who knows what, maybe even some 3x, 10x, king, queen, jack, maybe even worse. It seems unlikely. I think his bluffs are mainly going to comprise of like 2 cards over the 10, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I could be fucking totally wrong on that. But I think primarily he's going to have some value hands that we can make him fold 10x, 3x, maybe, fuck knows, pocket 8 or something. I don't know. He was aggressive enough where he could have like a super wide range here still, and I thought we could make him fold it. And we have a problem. So yeah, I thought we could make him fold it. We go all in. He snaps it off because he has 10-3 offsuit, which he was never going to fold, and sadly, we didn't get there. But whatever. I mean, I'm reasonably pleased with how I played the hand. I think once we turn that much equity, I guess we could just call versus 1/3 pot and try and hit the river. And against a lot of players, that's exactly what I would do. I mean, against more passive players, more docile players, I think just check calling that 1/3 pot size bet in the turn would absolutely be the correct play. But against this guy, he was pretty aggressive, and I thought could have like lots of bet folds in his range. I thought the jamming was probably slightly better. Turns out it wasn't on this occasion. But overall, I think I still like the line. But you guys may very well, think differently about that, and I'm more than happy to take your thoughts on it. Next hand here we have 2 jacks in the hole. Fish raises. I didn't have too many reads on this fish. He was definitely a fish. Obviously he's not reloading his stack. He'd been somewhat passive and just like pretty cally most of the time, like limping and calling and what have you. But jacks is still way too strong to not 3-bet, even though he was mostly limping. Anyway, we get a pretty good flop, and again we get the crash. This fucking is a piece of shit, this software. Galls me that I'm forced to do it this way because Sky won't let me use, well, Sky's make it too much of a ball ache for me to do anything else. So anyway, min bets 30. We obviously raise for value, over pair, backdoor flush draw, gut shot straight draw. He bets 30 again on the turn. We've only got like a pot size bet left, and of course 10x now makes a straight, but he just has way more than 10x here. He has like some flush draws maybe that he's just doing something weird with. Maybe he has 2 pairs, any 2 pair on that board, not containing a jack very often, of course, because there's only like 1 jack x left, one jack left in the deck. So he can have like some flush draws, maybe some 2 pairs, some undersets, some lower sets, maybe. Although I very much doubt that they like fish min bet then just call sets on a flop as wet as that. I think if he had like a set of 7s or set of 8s, set of 9s, I think when we raise a flop, I think he'd just smash it in our face most of the time, as he would be right to on this board really. I elected that my hand was probably good but could use a decent chunk of protection, so I went with the jam, and opponent called, and sadly he showed us the nut straight, and we did not improve. And again, I just wanted to like put this hand in, not because it's a bad beat or anything like that, because it's not really a bad beat. he's done nothing that much wrong. He's maybe obviously his line of like min don't call. If it'd been check call instead, or check call, check turn, I'd have had no real issue with it. So I don't think he's done too much wrong, assuming that we switch out his min bets for checks. So I'm not doing this to like denigrate him. I'm not putting this out as like a bad beat kind of thing. I'm just like, because I've been more aggressive lately, like with the 4-5, with like this here, which some people might think is thin. I guess what I'm asking here is like, is the turn jam too thin? I'm very, very confident that it isn't, due to the number of hands he can call us with. But when you've been being aggressive, and maybe, as we're going to see going forward, been on the wrong side of a few coolers or bad beats or what have you, it just make you question yourself just a little bit. And I guess that's like the purpose of this video. That I'm at the spots here where I've lost some bigger pots than maybe I should have done, because I've been too aggressive possibly. On to the next hand, we have the King Jack offsuit. We min raised under the gun because there were several fish at this table. The person who's 3-betting, a very nice guy, was chatting at the table, but he's definitely a recreational player. He was chatty, he was trying to have fun. Probably a very nice guy, but nevertheless still probably a relatively weak player compared to the pool. He just goes with a small-ish 3-bet, 7.5x. I think normally, if this was against a regular or somebody who I thought was a bit of a stronger player, I would probably just pitch the King Jack off. But because I think he was like quite weak, he was being quite aggressive too. I thought I was getting like a reasonable price to defend, although I'm being out of position. I thought, well, you know what, we're probably not going to lose too many big pots if we, but we could win some big pots. That was my line of thinking. And we flop tripped kings, which is pretty sweet. We check. He goes for a c-bet, and his range here could be obviously King X, pocket aces for sure, maybe pocket queens, just trying to find out where they're at, etc. I didn't think he was bluffing very often here. Maybe he's just like stabbing out with an ace jack or something, just trying to pick up the pot, which he's going to fold if we raise. But I thought his range was going to be like mostly kind of value-y stuff, like pocket aces was a hand I thought he was most likely to have, because we have a king. Then I thought maybe pocket jacks, pocket queens. It's just like putting a feeler bet out. So I elected to go for like a really small raise, just so he couldn't fold aces, couldn't fold queens, probably couldn't fold jacks. And maybe he just does something crazy with either of those types of hands. I don't think he does. If he has like queens here, for example, I think he just calls. Jacks, I think he just calls. With aces, who knows? Maybe he jams aces, maybe he just calls aces too. And obviously if he's got King X, you would imagine he's just going to like call and like just let me do my thing. So he surprises me by jamming, and then, I mean, we're nothing we can do here. We just have to call. There's just so few hands beat us. King, Queen suited, Ace, King, pocket nines. That's it. We have no choice but to call. And he did show us the Ace, King. And again, I'm not showing this because I'm not trying to say, oh, what a shame it is to be me. Look how bad I'm running. I have been running pretty bad. I've been running into the top of people's ranges a lot and not getting there with draws and things, or having draws get there against me. It's not been a good week. Spoiler alert for the end. It's not been a good few days. But that isn't why this hand is in. It's like, is this raise too thin on the flop against an aggressive recreational player? Is this raise, for my reasons earlier, of like forcing him to just like have to call with like pocket? The plan was like raise, have him call, and then just bet small, or, because we could have jammed, we could have like raised, and then by the time he calls on the flop, put this raise in here. By the time he calls, there's going to be like whatever, £14 in the pot with just 15 behind. We could have gone 5 on the turn and jammed the river for half pot. That was the plan, like raise small here, bet small turn, jam river. Sadly he beat us to the punch because he had the ace king. But is that plan okay, I guess is what I'm asking. Should like try and get, as it happens if we had queens, we'd have been fucked anyway. But my plan was like try and milk pocket queens, pocket aces. Maybe, once in a while he has like king 10 suited or something, which we get all the money against anyway. And when he jams, obviously we have to call. So I'm not putting in because it's a bad beat. I'm not saying should we have called when he jammed. I think that's mandatory. I guess we're just talking about the flop raise, because if we do have the best hand there, how often is he likely to continue barreling? I don't know. I didn't know the player that well, but I don't really see players barreling off too much on paired boards. It wouldn't be that hard for when I call for him to put me on a king. I don't care how weak I think he might be, how bad, we might not be thinking too much about poker. It's not going to be too hard for him to put me on a king. So I went for the raise to try and put the pressure on his like queens and aces, the things that we weren't cool against, that we were ahead of. And then sadly, he had the top of his range, and that was that. Next time we have the 8-6 suited, a fishy player raised under the gun. We defended the 8-6 on the button, which I think against a regular would be a 3-bet. I think against a fish it can be a call or a fold. I don't like to fold the button over hands like this, so usually we'll either 3-bet them or call with them depending on who's in the blinds. Anyway, we flop pretty good. The fishy player leads up for full pot here, which I very much doubt he's doing with nothing. I think at this point his range is probably, I mean, maybe he's doing it if he's bad with like an ace king, ace queen type hand, just trying to buy the pot. I think he's going to have a lot of like 10x plus 7, not very often, maybe, who knows. And again, this is a spot where sometimes I would just call, sometimes I would even just fold, but because I've been trying to be more aggressive, then this could be a mistake. I elected to put a raise in. Looking at it now in hindsight, when I was like putting the hand into this software, I thought, wow, this is a fucking spewy raise. Are we expecting a fish to fold an overpair here? Fucking no chance. Yeah, we get him off ace king, ace queen, but we can get him off that maybe on some turns, or we can just call and improve. I don't like this raise. I think this is definitely too aggressive. Because if he jams, what do we do? We got a gut shot on a shit flush draw on a paired board. Doubt we're already drawing dead, but we could be. But we could be drawing thin. If he's got a flush draw, then we're drawing pretty thin. I think it's too aggressive, this raise. Well, I made it, and he called. So by now I'm just like, right, well, if we don't improve, I'm done, because when he calls, he's either got a better flush draw than us, or he's got a made hand he's not folding. So I had zero intention of bluffing this turn. We hit the 8. I didn't really think it was good, but I thought maybe that's put us ahead of his flush draws at least. And he checks again. We check back. We river the flush. He checks. We have a really easy shove at this point. Just hope he's got the overpair that we kind of got owned by on the flop, and he did have it, and we got there. But I think the raise on the flop there is way too thin. Yeah, it's bought me like 2 free cards, if you will, but maybe it would have been cheaper to just call and call again on the turn. Who knows? This is where the doubt starts to creep in. I've lost track of what I was saying there because the fucking wife interrupted me with a telephone call. But yeah, just to go back, I think the raise is it's too aggressive, and we kind of just got lucky that we got the free card and got there. So yeah, maybe that was too aggressive too. On to the Jack 7 suited. Limper, we isolate, and I'm not sure if this is too weak of a hand to isolate a limper with. Again, I've been isolating quite wide, and I think I'm probably too wide. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, this was a pretty fishy table. Could we just overlimp there? I think folding's too weak, but I think I need to start developing more of an overlimping strategy in these games on Sky, because I get myself in very good games, but then I start bloating pots with weak hands against calling stations, and it all gets a bit messy. I'm not sure if we need to start developing a bit of an overlimping range. But yeah, I think this is maybe too aggressive again. We get led into. We elect to make a small raise again, maybe too aggressive. I mean, we probably like our equity. Don't expect him to fold much, but against these fishy players, you can make these small raises. It's kind of like a freeze play, and hopefully, like we did the last hand, you get like your free turn and river, if you will, or you just like stop them from betting more. He called. Turn was a 6. We check back because again, if we raise the flop here and he doesn't fold, then he's not that likely to fold on a 6, and we sure as shit don't have the best hand. Against a regular, I think we can continue betting there, but against a calling station type player, I don't think it's a really good barreling spot. And again, am I being too aggressive for you? I mean, the isolation seems too aggressive. The flop raise could be too aggressive, especially if we're not going to continue barreling on turns. It's definitely a confidence issue. I'm not really sure, because I've started being that bit more aggressive. but like things haven't been working out too well for me. It's not been the best of weeks. It can affect your confidence. I mean, even though you know you're in games that you crush, it's confidence is a fragile thing. It doesn't take long before you start doubting what you're doing. And looking back in this in hindsight now, if we're raising this flop, then we probably should be barreling the turn. But at the same time, do we want to barrel in a turn against on a bad turn card, in terms of like it doesn't generate as any fold equity? I think probably should be. I think we should probably just be fucking bombing it here and just putting maximum pressure on his like gut shots, his open enders, his who knows what. I mean, he's not going to fold a 10, but anything that isn't a 10 he might well just fold. So I'm not sure about that. And of course, the hands froze again. And we get the river and we hit it hard. We check. He checks. Sorry, we bet. He min raises us, and like whoever saw a check raise on the river that wasn't like super strong, really didn't like it. But I mean, of course, we have to call and just hope he doesn't show us like the king queen of diamonds or something like that. I guess he can maybe have some worse flushes, but I doubt it. We do call low. Unfortunately for us, he had 5-4 off, which is just a fucking who knows what he was trying to achieve there on that river. But we took it. You know, we'll take it. We go on to this last hand of the video. Under the gun is a regular. He's playing every table. I think he's pretty weak. Very face up. Doesn't do anything unusual. Doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. Checks back an awful lot, which is why we've donked here. If he has ace queen here or ace whatever, he's not betting. He's just checking back. He's pretty damn passive most of the time. Very face up type of player in my opinion. And I just wanted to like lead out, and you know, if he's got the overpays, either going to call or raise. We certainly don't like make him fold any good hands here. And then we have the button who is a fish too, who you could have like a wide range of hands we can get value from. Both players call. We still have the nuts on the turn. We upsize because we've been called in 2 spots, so there's like potentially sets out there, but I doubt it. Jack X for sure. Ace Jack's just improved. If this guy's got ace 7 or ace 8, that's just improved. Some more draws have appeared. No reason to bet small here. We just bet big. Then our regular under the gun puts a raise in. Really don't like his sizing. I think he should probably just jam or call here. His sizing. He's obviously committed. He obviously loves his hand. I was hoping he had pocket aces. Well, just hoping he had a set of some description so we can get all the money in. Obviously we jam because we know he's not bluffing there. And if he is bluffing, it's going to be a club draw that's not folding. He did have the set, and again, I promise you, this isn't a bad beat hand. It's just one of the more interesting hands I played towards the end there. Towards the end, before I made the video. Well, not before I made the video, because I played this hand a couple of days ago. I took the day off yesterday, just about, and didn't play very much because I had work, and I had a bad weekend, bad Friday and Saturday, and just didn't really feel like playing very much, so we didn't. And yeah, I mean, he was at all 4 tables, so if you're watching this video now, buddy, I was a bit out of line in chat, but the reason I was out of line is I criticised the way he played. I said his turn rate was bad and etc. And it wasn't because I thought his turn rate was bad. The whole hand, he was right. He said it was standard. I fucking 100% agree it was standard. But I was trying to imply to him that I was on tilt and what have you. And I was criticising his play. I wasn't unpleasant to him. I was just saying like how bad he was. Called him a bad reg and a few other things. Because he was at every table, and I wanted to create the impression that I was tilted. I don't tilt, but I wanted to create the impression that I was tilted just in case we've got in a spot against him in the next like 5 or 10 minutes. Turns out we didn't, so there we go. So if you are watching this, buddy, then yeah, I mean, I don't think you played the hand final, so you're completely right. It is completely standard. I think you should just jam the turn or call low. I don't like your raise size on the turn. I think jam or call's probably a lot better. But you know, yeah, obviously I don't really think you played the hand badly. I was just trying to like pretend it was tilted when I wasn't, and there you go. So how have the results been? It's been a pretty miserable few days. We've now played 23 hours this month. We've only made 55 quid for £2.34 an hour. It's piss poor. I've had a bad run. I've been running at the top of people's ranges a lot. I've not been getting there with draws. I've had people getting there against me with draws. All natural variance. Hopefully it'll turn around soon. Hopefully we can, next video can be a lot more positive, and we can have this number up around the 200 mark. But thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and bye bye for now.